Hello my friends, welcome back to Julia in the Garden. In today's video, I'm going to give you a little tour of my seed starting setup, and then we're going to start my first seeds of the year. And those are going to be my onions and leeks. Let's get started. This is my seed starting area. It is actually the front entryway to our house. That's the front door there to the left. However, we almost always use a side door into our mudroom, so this doesn't get a lot of traffic. It is right off of our living room though, and so it's close enough to our main living areas where I can keep an eye on my seeds and have them top of mind, even though it's not an area that's highly trafficked otherwise. So in that regards, it is a perfect place for my seeds. I'm going to go through everything I'm using, and I will link everything that I can below. They will be affiliate links, so that means that I get a little bit of money if you buy through the link, but it doesn't cost you any extra. So putting that out there. Starting with the shelving. So actually the shelving you see directly in front of you, that's plastic. I got that years and years ago. We got it just as extra storage for our basement in our last house, and I don't even remember where I got it from, so that won't be linked. But it's just a standard plastic storage. It was either from Lowe's or Home Depot. And then to the right, the metal shelving I got last year to add on, and it is the Amazon Basics brand, and they comes in different sizes. This had another shelf that we actually took off in the middle of seed starting season last year because my peppers and tomatoes were so tall, they needed more room and needed to be farther from the light. So the way my setup is now, I start my seeds up top on the plastic one because that's the closest light there, and then they kind of work their way over. The tall ones will eventually get to the metal one. So that's how I have it set up currently. The lights themselves, let me come in closer here, are LED shop lights. Okay, so let me first, I have two different little outlets down here that have timers. It's a mess down there, sorry. I haven't figured out how to, I haven't done the work to use the timers yet. I just come in and do it manually. But each shelving unit is set up on a different power station there so that I can turn them on separately, because especially at the beginning of the seed starting season, I'll probably only have one on. Although that black cord there is our fireplace, so that is currently on. So I think maybe these ones should be on. Let's see. There we go. So they just click on like that. So again, these are LED shop lights. I can just turn them on separately like that. There's two on each shelf here. I'm going to turn them off again because it makes the lighting weird for filming. And they have worked well for me. I got a couple, I think I had like 4 for 2 shelves in 2019. And then last year I expanded. So I now have, how many shelves do I have for space? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 shelves that I can use with 2 per shelf. And so with all of these supplies that I'm showing you now, this was for me a balance between affordability and functionality. So I'm sure you can find cheaper ones, and I know you can find more expensive ones that probably work better. But for me, again, this was a good balance for me. So you kind of have to figure out what that balance is for you. And again, these will all be linked so you can check out what I'm using, but that does not mean that it's the best option for you. So you can also do your own research. So we have the shelves, we have the lights. Now we need things to start our seeds in. So what I have are these trays here. They're a thick plastic. And again, they are linked below. They do break a little bit, but they're actually, I think they're pretty sturdy. When most of the breakages happened, when I had like big pots, like full of cups of heavy soiled tomatoes, and I was moving them around a lot, that's when I noticed cracks happening. And at least half of these, if not more, I've had, this will be their 3rd season in use. So they've already been used for 2 seasons. These, as well as my other seed starting supplies, in between use, I clean them with just like a good dish soap and water. I like to use Mrs. Meyer's, like the more natural stuff. And then I do a spray of slightly diluted white vinegar, let it sit for a few minutes, then rinse it off and dry it. And I know some people like to use bleach. Some people don't do anything. It's just, I know I'm getting some of the stuff off. They're relatively clean. If I end up seeing problems, I might use bleach in the future, but I prefer not to use really harsh chemicals like that. And the vinegar seems to be working fine. So that's what I do. I have about 18 of these left for this year. I think like 2 broke. So I might order another set this year because I'm not sure if I have enough to get through the whole season. But I like those. They're good quality. I like, if I'm going to use plastic, I want to be able to reuse it. So that's what you'll see here. And I got these little trays to go inside. These are the 6-cell trays. I think you can get them in 4-cell and different things. Anyway, I believe either 8 or 10 fit in here. I always forget. Actually 6 across. So this fits 12 of these, and I should have done the math in my head first. Hold on. It should be 72. It's 72 cell trays, and you can find actually just like one piece 72 cell trays. You would just have to see with the measurements to make sure that it fits in your tray there. And these ones have all been reused and washed out. I have my stack of my best ones here. Now here's the thing. I ordered from 2 different places. So these are the ones I ordered in 2019. And I like these better than the ones I ordered in 2020. So I looked back, and I'm making sure to link the ones from 2019, but it's kind of a toss-up what you're gonna get. Now the reason I like these better, let me grab the other ones, hold on. So up here I'm probably gonna have to use some of these as well, but I'm starting with the good ones. So they're the same thing, right? They're the trays, and they work fine. The thing is, the plastic is much thinner. And so I find they break more easily. They're actually harder to clean because I have to be more gentle with them. And so I much prefer these ones. So these are the ones I have linked below, but you kind of never know if they like change the way they're doing things, if things could change. So these are kind of like my backup ones that I'm probably gonna have to use. So I'm keeping them up here. And they're the ones I ordered last year, and that whole stack there was not even used last year. So, and some of these broke, and these are the ones that I cleaned from last year. So we will see how it goes. But I like this one. These ones are really easy to clean. These are going to be their 3rd season being used as well. Also in this little half box, I have these plastic labels that are multicolored. I might try to color code things this year. We'll see. I bought this package last year. I actually bought a much smaller package and then realized that was not nearly enough for what I need. So hopefully this will be enough for what I need this year. I tried using like cardboard. I tried like cutting up old like frozen pizza boxes and stuff and using those, and they just like disintegrated, and then I didn't know what was what. So I am using the plastic tags to label things. I've got some Sharpies in here too. And actually those are grease pencils, which I use on labels from outside, and those labels are actually kept somewhere else, but the grease pencils are there. I have my it's just a bottle with water that I can spray. So when I'm first like trying to germinate the seedlings and I want to keep them moist, I'll use this. And then once the seedlings have sprouted, are growing, I will mostly just bottom water. And I can show you that, and I can show you that in another video as well. Okay, so now there's all this stuff on the top. Let's see, I already showed you my extra little cells there, but this up here, let me pull these down. This is the same thing that's up there. Let's see. This is a heat mat. Ooh, it's a seedling heat mat. You can see the brand there. I'll try to have that linked below as well. This is what it looks like out of the box. It's kind of curled up in there. And I will just stick this, like probably here actually, this is where I usually stick it, and plug it in. And I don't use this for most of my seeds actually. I like to start most of them without the heat. In my mind, it just creates a stronger seedling. I don't know if that's true at all, but I will use it for things like peppers, eggplants, tomatoes. I tend to use this to germinate. I know people use it for other things as well, and I just haven't. If I have issues with germinating, then I might, but ooh. But that gets kept up there until I'm using it. Also up there, I just have, there are more cups that I use for mostly potting up. There's a few things that get started in them. So let me pull them down so I can show you. These are mostly yogurt containers, and these I use for potting up pumpkins and bigger things like that. You can see they have rouge pumpkin. And when I use these, I just write with a Sharpie on the side, and then I grow many of the same varieties. I love the rouge pumpkin. And so I try to just find the same one, and if not, I'll just cross it off and write the new variety on it. But that way I'm not using extra tags there. These are just smaller size containers. I think that was a hummus. And this is, I tend to save pots I get from nurseries and stuff and clean them out the same way. And this was a Stark Brothers. I think this might have been a honeyberry plant in there. I have more larger pots that I've gotten from for nursery plants downstairs that I haven't really cleaned out and done anything with yet, because it's going to be a while until I may need them. I may not. Okay, the good old red Solo cup here. I don't love using these in my house. I'm just very, like, I try to be more eco-conscious and not use a lot of plastic. However, when we moved here, my in-laws bought a big pack of these to try to help me out, and I didn't use them. But when it came to seed starting, I was like, oh, well, I can use them for that. So that's what I'm doing, and I try to reuse them a bunch of times. So clean them out the same way. They all have one, I think they have mostly one, that you could put 2 holes, but one has been fine, hole in the bottom. Now this had a Cherokee purple tomato in it last year. So these ones mostly are for potting up tomatoes, and then there are a few things I start in this size. So my squash, I started in this size, and maybe the melons, I think, maybe. Or I might have potted them up into this. This year I'll probably start all the cucurbits in this size, so the squash, the melons, and the cucumbers. And that way, hopefully I won't have to pot up things like the cucumbers before I get them in the ground, and then I won't be disturbing them as much. And I'll have to debate whether to start the squash, like the pumpkins, the bigger ones, in this size or in the yogurt containers I just showed you, because then I have to pot them up if I start them in this size. So that's what I use those for. And again, I just write on it with Sharpie. And so I'll just pull all the cups down when I'm ready to start this and see if I can find the varieties that I've done before. Or if it's a new one, I'll try to see if there's a variety I'm not growing this year and use those and cross it off. So yeah, I like to reuse it and as much as possible. But it's going to be a little while till I use those, so they're just hanging out up there for right now. And okay, so let's move on to the top of this one over here. That's just it's a little watering can that I use sometimes. If I have things in those bigger pots I just showed you, sometimes the bottom watering I don't feel works as well, so I will water with the watering can, and it's just for random things. These are more, hang on, these are more random pots and stuff. So I love watching Charles Dowding, Monty Don, those British gardeners, and they seem to start things in pots like in containers more like this and then prick them out. And so I did save some when I had some things from, like, I think mushrooms and stuff. I saved and washed them out in case I want to do that. I don't know if I'm going to do that or not this year. And then it's some more little nursery pots here that I can use. These are kind of like the equivalent of those red cups, and these are a little bit bigger. And then I think I have some paper bags and twine and stuff, just random gardening supplies I needed to put somewhere. So that's what's in there. And again, it's up top. I'm gonna need 2 hands for that, so give me a sec. This barely fits here right now, but this is my, like, kind of seed starting, my soil stuff, I guess, if that makes sense. This is actually not a soil thing, but it seemed like the best place to put it. This is a earthworm casting tea. I will talk about that in a minute, but let me start with this stuff. So this is just an empty, I think it was like a soup container, but I'm using it as a kind of a scoop. This is the seed starting mix I like to use. So, and it is again, it'll be linked below. I get it from Amazon, to be honest. You can get it from most nurseries and big box stores, but it's the Ipsoma Organic Seed Starting Mix. And what I actually do is I put boiling water in it to start with. So I'm making sure to like kill any bugs or whatever that could be in that starting mix, which does kill some of the good stuff that they put in there. So heads up on that. It's a tip I saw from the Rusted Gardener, and I just don't want to like risk anything happening to my seedlings from the soil mix. So that's why I do that, and it's worked for me. So I'm just going to keep doing it. However, now when you first start your seedlings, they don't actually need any nutrients. Everything they need is right in the seed, which is so cool. But for some of them that are going to be in their containers for longer, or maybe just really heavy feeders like onions need a lot of nutrients, I have earthworm castings. So I sprinkle some of this earthworm casting mix back into the soil after it's cooled down, so that there is some stuff in there for when the seedlings need it. This is just the liquid version of that. And so for some really heavy feeders, I think the only things, I mean, onions, I think I did it with my tomatoes were getting really big, and peppers. So it'll be a while, but like as we get later, closer to planting, I might just put a tiny bit of this in the water that I'm using to water them, just to make them a little bit happier. So that's what all this is. And I just have it in this tub here. This was the tub I was using last year for mixing all my seeds starting soil and everything. And it's pretty small. So I just got one of my tubs from outside that I bought myself last year, and I'm using that this year. And I will show you that when we get to planting the seeds. I don't know where it's going to live yet, somewhere in here. We did get a gate. I will show you in a minute as well. We did get a gate to put to block the toddler from getting in here, but it just got up over the last few days, so I can just finally maybe put stuff a little lower on the floor. Otherwise she would get it. So I'm gonna put this back. So that's my setup. A quick note, when I do pot things up, I would use potting soil. I wouldn't use the seed starting mix. And so that's kept, I have a little bit of potting soil left, and I'm keeping it downstairs. There's some storage areas that I'm kind of reorganizing right now, so it's kind of a mess, but I do have some of my garden stuff down there. So it'll come up when it's time. But having a little toddler that's very mischievous, I'm trying to keep things out of her way as much as possible. And so that's my solution. I also have some extra bags of the seed starting mix you saw here. I think I have 3 more that are also downstairs. So now that we have the gate on, I could bring them up and leave them up here, but I think for right now, I'm just gonna leave them where they are. They're not getting messed with, and bring them up as needed. Okay, I'm standing in my living room right now, and this is just the gate I mentioned. Obviously, this is not necessary for most people, but if you have toddlers or little kids that get into your stuff, or even pets, you might want something like this to block off any area. It was an awkward area, so I managed to find, it's a pressure mounted gate that does open both ways. And so it's only been up for a couple days now, but it's working really well. The toddler's mad, she can't get in, and it's keeping her out. And so it's doing its job. So I just wanted to show you, that's our newest addition. Okay, so it's time to start our seeds, and I am starting with onions and leeks today. Today is February 27th. Yes, it's February 27th. I'm about 10.5 weeks before my average last frost date of May 12th. And I could have started the onions a little bit earlier. Honestly, they can start as early as 12 weeks, but they'll be fine started now. I was trying to get everything kind of organized and cleaned up first. So I'm gonna start them today. I have 3 different types of onions here, all from Fedco Seeds. I have 2 different types of leeks. One of these was a recent impulse buy from grocery shopping. And let's see, I've got my tags over here ready to go. I've got my tray with my seed starting cells, my garden journal with my notes, and I've got this big tub. Now, I used this so much in the garden last year, and I also have a slightly bigger one. It's from Gardener Supply. I will link it below. I want to get more this year. Anyway, it's filled with the seed starting mix. So I have this kitchen spoon fork thingy that has been sacrificed to seed starting, and I usually keep it in the tub with the other seed starting stuff. And it's been, well, I put boiling water in it this morning. It's now cooled down. I think it needs a little bit more water. I do like to pre-moisten everything first because then it's easier. So I'll probably put a little bit more water in it, and I am going to put just a little handful of the worm casings in, just a little bit in this whole big tub. We're going to just start with the onions because I was running out of space here. So these are all filled up with the seed starting mix with a little bit of the worm casting mixed in. I've got 3 different kinds of onions, as I said before. I'm going to make the tags. So let me just talk through with you a little bit what I'm thinking about the onions. Onions are such a cool plant because you can plant them like in groupings and then kind of gently pull them apart, and then go ahead and plant them either one by one, or I may try. I'm going to also try multi-sowing them. So these are 2 different techniques, but most plants, I wouldn't recommend like planting a bunch all together and then tearing the roots apart, because their roots probably won't like that. But alliums, you can do that with. So I think that's very cool. These are Dakota Tears onions. I did grow these last year as well. They turned out pretty small last year. I don't know if, I think that was me. So I'm going to try these again and then compare. But yes, I'm going to sow them in 2 different ways. So actually, let me mark ahead. I am going to try multi-sowing well, I'm going to multi-sow all of it. Let me back up here. Okay. So the first method I'm trying is I follow Charles Dowding. I will link to his video on this below. But what he does is he multi-sows several onion seeds in each cell, and then he actually plants them all together in a group. And then he takes some for spring onions and then lets the rest grow, and they still grow at like a relatively good size. So I'm going to try that here. So let's see, hold on. So for the multi-sown ones, I'm doing 2 trays of multi-sown, which means basically that I'm going to put this whole cell that I plant 3 or 4, and put 3 or 4 seeds in here. And this whole cell is going to go together in the soil, in the ground. Well, really, I'm going to put them in a raised bed this year. That's my thought. So there we go. We'll get these going. I think he does all of his this way. I'm just trying 2 trays, which are going to be, I guess it'll end up being 12 clumps that I put, and then the rest I'm going to do another way. I mean, I probably don't have to be so careful about how close they are in here. They're all in the same cell, but I'm going to try to space them out a little bit. Okay. I'm leaving this one aside for right now. I'm going to cover these with a little bit more of the seed starting mix. My seed starting packet says to bury them about a ½ inch in. I'm not like, they're not going to go super deep because they're small seeds. I mean, they're not as small as like snapdragons, but they're relatively small seeds. They're not big like a pumpkin seed. So generally, the bigger the seed, the deeper you're going to want to put it. This is what I'm doing here. I believe they like darkness to germinate, so I am going to cover them. There are some seedlings or some seeds that I would just spread on the surface. Like snapdragons, I'll probably end up doing that. There's a couple others that like that I'm not thinking of at the moment, but so there we go. Those should be happy. I'm going to put these tags in so I know I've done them. And it does say that they're multi-sown, which is kind of my tip to me to not take them apart, but plant them all together. Those 2 are in there. Now with this last one, I'm not just going to stick one in this one. This is what I'm going to do. So I will post to yet another person's video here, and that is Luca and my gardener. And he does this really cool thing, and I did this last year, and it's kind of fun to do, where you just sow a ton of seeds in a small amount of space, and they come up. And then when it's time to plant them, you just take and you carefully pull it apart, and you can plant one at a time, which is what he does. And so that's what I'm going to do with the rest of them here. And then we'll have done both methods, and we'll, see what we like. And for this, I'm going to aim for about 8 per cell. I don't think it really matters that much. I just want to make sure I have enough onions that I want to grow. So yeah, I'm not even counting. We're just going to hope we get a good amount here. Honestly, onion seeds are one of the, I think, few seeds that really don't store well. So, using more of them is better because they may not be good next year. Whereas most seeds that you get, last at least a couple of years. So I'm even going to put more in there. And then if I have extra onions, I have extra onions. It's not the end of the world. So I'm really, really heavily sowing this. I'm going to try this season to take you along like on each step. So I can show you when these come up, and then when I do end up putting them in, how I pull them apart. I think it's so cool. But for right now, if you want to go watch Luke's video, because he's already done that, that'd be great. So these are the Dakota Tears, a yellow storage onion, and I got the seeds from Fedco. Okay, and that's my Dakota Tears tag there, and I'm sticking it in the thing. Okay, the onions are happily in the tray. I'm going to get these two last seed cells started, filled with soil for the leeks. Okay, on to the leeks. So I have two different kinds here. This is the kind I've grown the past couple years from Baker Creek. It's Giant Musselburgh. These take a little while. I think they're supposed to take 100 days. These are an alto leek I just picked up, time mowing seeds. And I think these are supposed to be, it looks like 65 to 75 days. So they're a little bit faster. I am having trouble deciding if I want to do like the multi-sowing technique where I plant a clump, because Charles Dowding also does that with his leeks, or if I just want to do them singularly. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to aim for 4 per cell, and then I can always pull them apart later or put them in together. And I'm just going to do 1 seed tray of each. Also, these seeds are a little bit older. I don't know if they're 2 or 3 years. Practically, these are 2 years old. So I might actually put a little bit more in each of the seeds for that, in each of the cells for that one, because I am not sure. They did germinate again last year. So we will see. But it makes me glad I picked up a new one just in case. Okay, there's my tray. Please ignore all the stuff back there that I need to clean up. I'm actually going to take my spray bottle and just go ahead and spray them in a little bit. I just want the seed, so again, I started with moistened soil, but I want to make sure the seeds are nice and moist and happy in there. This is not a lot of water. And I will probably continue to mist them until I see the seedlings coming up, at which point I will bottom water them. Yep. So if it's not a lot, let's go ahead and bring these to where they live. I think I'm going to need 2 hands, unfortunately. There they are, all happy. I am not going to turn the lights on right now because they do not like light to germinate. And once I get a good number of them germinating, I will turn the lights on. But right now, oh, look, we have seeds on the shelf in soil. So very exciting day. I hope you all have as much fun seed starting as I do. I'm going to go get a snack and go get on with my day. But I hope you are well. And until next time, happy gardening.